Somewhere in your house, most likely in a kitchen drawer, there is a decent chance one of them is still waiting. A big blue rectangle of glossy paper, about the size of a postcard, with white letters promising 20% off any single item. For decades that coupon landed in American mailboxes so relentlessly that people quit treating it as advertising and started treating it as currency. You did not throw the blue one away. You saved it, because the whole country seemed to be in on the secret, and the secret was that the registers took them long after the expiration date printed on the front. The coupon worked its way into sitcom punchlines and wedding budgets, which is a strange kind of fame for a piece of junk mail. Entire households ran on one simple rule: never buy a towel, a toaster, or a coffee maker without a blue coupon in hand. That little blue rectangle helped build one of the great American retail empires. Then it helped bury it, because Bed Bath & Beyond was not really killed by Amazon, and it was not really killed by the pandemic. It was killed by its own coupon, twice. Slowly at first, while the endless discount trained an entire nation to never pay full price and papered over everything rotting behind the shelves. Then all at once, when a new boss took the coupon away and discovered it was the only reason half the customers were showing up. One company, and one habit that neither side of the register could quit. Let's open it up. The story starts in 1971 with two veteran retail men named Warren Eisenberg and Leonard Feinstein. They had watched the giant department stores grow fat and slow, and they made a simple bet. A small store selling just one department, but selling it deeper than anyone else, could beat the giants at their own game. They opened two small shops selling bed linens and bath goods, one in suburban New Jersey and one in New York, and called the business Bed and Bath. The idea worked, and in the mid-'80s it grew teeth. The partners opened their first true superstore, a warehouse-sized space carrying a full line of goods for the home. And in 1987 they renamed the company Bed Bath & Beyond because the shelves had gone far beyond sheets and towels. Those shelves became the signature. Merchandise stacked floor to ceiling, towers of towels, walls of gadgets, a canyon of inventory so dense that walking in felt like a treasure hunt. No fancy displays, no expensive theater, just overwhelming abundance. The company went public in 1991, and through the 90s it became one of the most admired operators in American retail. It grew store by store, funded the expansion largely out of its own cash flow, and for decades it barely touched debt. Then, in the late 1990s, came the accident that changed everything. By the company's own telling, the 20% coupon began as a simple one-off holiday promotion, a little 4th of July traffic booster. It worked so well that it simply never stopped. The company reportedly experimented with other colors, decided red and yellow felt too harsh, and settled on that unmistakable shade of deep blue. Then it turned on the fire hose. At the height of the program, close to 1 billion coupons a year were going out through the mail. Understand what the coupon really was, because it was never a discount in the normal sense. It was the advertising budget. Instead of buying television, commercials, the company mailed you a personal reason to get in the car. And the registers quietly honored expired coupons, so every blue postcard in your junk drawer stayed a live invitation forever. And for years, honestly, it was genius. By 2017, the empire counted more than 1,500 stores across its brands, and over $12 billion in yearly sales. It had swallowed other chains along the way, including Bye Bye Baby, the baby goods retailer founded by two sons of one of its own founders. That is the peak, so hold the image. The biggest home goods specialist in America, a coupon in every mailbox, a store at every highway exit. Now watch the same coupon start eating the company alive. The first problem was arithmetic. When 1/5 of the price evaporates at the register, somebody absorbs it, and increasingly that somebody was the company's own profit margin. Executives knew it, and over the years the company openly acknowledged that the coupons were gnawing into its profits. The second problem was training. 2 full generations of shoppers learned, correctly, that nobody ever needs to pay full price at Bed Bath & Beyond. A discount that never ends stops being a promotion. It becomes the price, and from that day forward the number on the shelf tag is a fiction. Then the smartphone arrived, and the training backfired completely. Shoppers stood in the towel aisle, phone in hand, checking the shelf price against Amazon, and the very same brand-name goods were sitting right there online, often cheaper before the blue coupon even came out of the pocket. The store that taught America to hunt for a deal watched America find a better one. This was the moment to spend serious money on the future, on the website, on warehouses, on delivery. The company had the cash. It chose to spend it on something else entirely. From 2004 onward, Bed Bath & Beyond poured $11.8 billion into buying back its own shares at an average cost of more than $44 apiece. In 2014, it even started borrowing to keep that machine fed, selling $1.5 billion in bonds, some of which would not come due until 2044. A company that had lived nearly debt-free for decades was suddenly taking on 30-year loans to buy its own stock. Every one of those dollars was a dollar that never built an online business. By the time the share price sank into the single digits, those billions had purchased nothing that could ring up a sale. The shelves were still full, and the war chest was empty. By 2019, the sales were slipping, the stock had cratered, and the patience ran out. 3 activist investment funds, together holding about 5% of the company, teamed up and moved to throw out the entire board. The 2 founders, both in their 80s by then, left that spring, and the chief executive who had run the company since 2003 was gone weeks later. The rescue hire looked perfect on paper. Mark Tritton arrived from Target, where as chief merchandising officer he had helped launch a string of wildly successful store brands. In late 2019, he took command of Bed Bath & Beyond, and he reached straight for the Target playbook. Out went stacks of the national brands people actually recognized, replaced by a parade of freshly invented house labels nobody had ever heard of. Out went the cluttered Canyon look, in favor of cleaner, calmer, curated stores. And crucially, out went a large share of the coupons, because ending the endless discount was supposed to heal those bleeding margins. Every one of those moves misread what the store actually was. People did not come for curated calm, they came for the treasure hunt. They did not want a mystery house brand at a fair price, they wanted the name brand toaster with a blue coupon pressed against it. The discount was not a leak in the business model. Discount was the business model. The timing made it all crueler. The private label pivot ran headfirst into the pandemic's broken supply chains, and stores sat with gaps on the shelves where the familiar brands used to be. Customers walked in holding coupons the company no longer wanted, hunting for brands the company no longer stocked, and eventually they stopped walking in at all. Sales went into free fall, and by June of 2022, Tritton was out. The interim chief executive admitted the coupon retreat had been, in her words, too severe, and the blue coupons came rushing back. But an addiction runs in both directions, and this company had trained its customers a little too well. You can teach a whole country to wait for a discount. What you cannot do is take that discount away, send those shoppers to Amazon and Target for 2 straight years, and then expect the same old postcard to summon them home. The spell was broken, and no amount of blue paper could recast it. Quick pause at the halfway beep of the register. This channel opens up one fallen American name at a time, start to finish, and if that is worth your while, tap subscribe. It costs exactly nothing, full price. Now back to the strangest chapter in this entire story. Because while the retailer was dying, the stock suddenly came back to life, and it came back as a circus. In early 2022, billionaire Ryan Cohen, the man behind Chewy and the chairman of GameStop, revealed a stake of almost 10% in Bed Bath & Beyond, and the meme stock crowd stampeded in behind him. On the 1st of July, 2022, the shares sat at $4.38. By the 17th of August, they touched $30, powered by small traders, message boards, and pure momentum, while the actual stores underneath kept losing money. The company was collapsing, and the ticker was mooning. The stock lost more than 70% of its value in under a week. A lawsuit soon accused him and the company's chief financial officer of inflating the price ahead of the exit. Days after that lawsuit was filed, the chief financial officer, Gustavo Arnal, died by suicide in New York. He was 52 years old. Behind the ticker symbol and the rocket emojis, this was a real company, run and staffed by real people, and it was coming apart. The final. Winter was short and brutal. In January of 2023, the company warned investors it might not survive, defaulted on its credit line, and began grasping at increasingly desperate financing deals. None of it was enough. On the 23rd of April, 2023, Bed Bath & Beyond filed for bankruptcy in New Jersey and announced it would liquidate everything. Roughly 360 Bed Bath & Beyond stores were still standing, along with about 120 buybuy BABY locations and some 14,000 employees. The debts ran past $5 billion. Set that beside the $11.8 billion the company had spent on its own shares, and the autopsy report writes itself. 3 days later, when the liquidation sales began, the registers stopped taking coupons. The coupons that famously never expired all expired at once. By the 30th of July, 2023, the last store locked its doors, and 52 years of American retail were over. Except the name refused to stay buried. At the bankruptcy auction, Overstock bought the brand, the website, the trademarks, and the customer lists for $21.5 million, with not a single store included. The entire identity of a company that once sold $12 billion of goods a year changed hands for a rounding error next to what it used to spend on buybacks in an average year. Overstock liked its purchase so much that it eventually renamed the whole corporation Beyond. And in 2025, the brand walked back out of the grave and into the physical world through a partnership with the home decor chain Kirkland's. The first new Bed Bath & Beyond home store opened outside Nashville that summer, with plans to convert well over 200 Kirkland's locations to the old name in the years ahead. And here is the detail that closes this file. The new stores announced they would honor the old blue coupons, the paper ones, from the dead company, regardless of the date on them. By 2026, the brand was running a nationwide hunt for the oldest surviving coupon in America, celebrating the very piece of paper that helped sink the original business. The company died, the coupon never did. And the lesson is uncomfortable for every retailer still standing. A discount can absolutely build an empire, and for a quarter of a century this one did. But a store that only works at 20% off never owned its customers in the first place. It was renting them, one blue postcard at a time, and the day the rent stopped, so did they. Now it is your turn on this one. Do you still have a blue coupon in a drawer somewhere? And what was the last thing you bought with one? Who actually killed this company in your book, the coupon, the buybacks, or the man who took the coupon away? And would you shop at one of the new stores, or does that feel like a stranger wearing a familiar coat? Put your coupon stories in the comments, and maybe check that kitchen drawer before you throw anything out. Apparently, the blue ones are still good.